My name is Donovan, and today I want to share with you an unboxing and quick first look at the brand new Garmin Fenix line of watches. I have in hand 3 different variations of the Garmin Fenix 6. There are actually 19 variations of this watch that are available. However, we're only going to be taking a look at 3 of them because, of course, 19 would just be an insanely long video. So we have in hand the Fenix 6S, the Fenix 6, and the Fenix 6X, all of them being the Sapphire edition of the watches, and all of them being the music, map, and Wi-Fi version of the watches. And like I mentioned, there's 19 variations. The prices range quite a bit. So if you get the stainless steel regular version of the Fenix Success, that one goes down to $600, all the way up to $1,150 for the titanium version of the Fenix 6X that also features solar power capabilities. So that being said, let me give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this video, the folks over at playbetter.com, where you can pick up any of these smartwatches that you see here and other fitness, golf, cycling, and outdoor equipment. So you can check them out in the links down below, as well as their Amazon store, where all of these watches and other equipment is available as well. Alright, so before I get into unboxing the watches, I did want to go ahead and compare it up to my Fenix 5 Plus that I purchased last year and talk about some of the upgrades you get going from the 5 line of watches, the 5 Plus line of watches, up to the Fenix 6 line of watches. Now, this is the 6X, which is why it looks a little bit bigger than the 5 Plus. And I'm going to go ahead and set the watches off to the side so you can see some of the differences here on the back of the box. So, first thing being extra battery life. So, notice over here we have 12 hours on watch mode versus 14 hours on the new Fenix 6X. So 2 hours extra, 2 days I should say, extra battery life. 36 hours on GPS mode versus only 19 hours. So they've nearly doubled the battery life on the watch, which is really spectacular. And with doing that, they've actually managed to make it less weight and less size. So look at here, we have 47 millimeter watch versus 46 over here on the Fenix 6. The display size hasn't really changed a whole lot, but they did improve the pixel density, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But notice here we have 82 grams of weight versus over here is 87. And they've also included some extra features that you didn't get on the Fenix 5 Plus. One of them is pulse ox is included in the Fenix 6 line of watches, regardless of which version you get. And that was not included on the 5 Plus unless you got the 5X Plus. So that was a little bit more expensive, but that did come with pulse ox. So if you're not familiar with pulse ox, basically it lets you know how well your body has acclimated to the altitude. You can see where I live, obviously that's not going to be an issue, but if you are somewhere where you're going to be at altitude, that is a nice feature to have. Also, here we have Pace Pro and Power Manager. So Power Manager is going to give you extended battery life, so if you want to go even beyond that 14 days, you can extend the battery life with the Power Manager. And then also Pace Pro is going to be for those of you that maybe are running a half marathon or marathon, or I guess even a 5K or 10K. It's going to let you know exactly where you are in terms of the pace that you have set out for yourself as far as a goal, and try to keep you on that pace. Now, another feature that you won't see on the watch itself is they've added basically double the amount of storage. So over here on the Fenix 5 Plus, you got 16 gigs of internal storage. Over here you get 32 gigs, so you can add more music, save more maps, save more previous workouts, all those things you can add extra because of that extra storage that you have available. Alright, so we're going to set that off to the side, and now we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the feature comparisons here with these 3 versions of the watch. So let me mention also the 87 grams of the Fenix 5 Plus for me was kind of very close to being on the edge of what was comfortable for me. So any bigger than this, and it certainly would have been too heavy. But obviously, like I mentioned, they've reduced the weight. This one's down to 82 grams. Now, I've actually been wearing the Fenix 6X, which is the largest version of the watch for the last couple of days, and you can see that one's 93 grams. So I'm going to be completely honest and say, for me personally, the 6X is too large of a watch, partially because the bands are 26 millimeter bands on the 6X, and I'll just be honest, it's just too big for me. I'm used to my Forerunner 245 Music. This one's made out of plastic. It's not very heavy at all, whereas this one's made out of stainless steel with, they call it DLC, which is diamond-like carbon, or diamond-like coating, I should say. And so basically it's just an extra coating on top of the stainless steel to give it this nice gray look to it instead of the stainless steel look that you get on my Fenix 5 Plus. This one also has sapphire glass, but you do have to pay extra because you can see I do have the sapphire version of all three of these. But this one is definitely heavier and just too bulky for me personally. So let me set that off to the side and show you the difference in terms of like weight and things like that. So you can see over here on the Fenix 6X, you only get, or sorry, 6S, you only get 9 days on watch mode, 25 hours on GPS mode, which is still better than what I got over here. So here I got 19 days or 19 hours on GPS mode, where 25. Now you do get a little bit less on watch mode, but let's be honest with you, most people that are purchasing these watches are going to be using that GPS mode quite a bit. So actually the 6S is probably the best watch for me personally, but that's, and oh, I should mention 61 grams of weight. So I do like that weight of the 6S. Now they sent out kind of a more, I'll say, girly version of the watch here. So this one's the rose gold, and I forget what they call this color. What do they call this color on the watch? I think it might be on this part of the box. There it is. So rose gold and a rose gold tone with powder gray band. So this is called powder gray band, but that looks really nice. And in terms of the weight, I just really like that weight. So for me, if I were to purchase one of these watches, this would be the one I would want, because that battery life is still really good, even though it's not nearly as good as what you get here. But these are obviously a little bit heavier, so 82 grams, which again is 5 grams lighter than what my Fenix 5 Plus was. But then also we already mentioned the battery life on this one, so 36 hours of battery life. Over here on the Fenix 6X, you're going to get some crazy good battery life, obviously largest display, but the weight, again, 93 grams, and then over here 21 days and 60 hours on GPS mode. So obviously, if you want just the biggest and best, the Fenix 6X is going to be the one for you. But like I mentioned, it's a little bit too big for me. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Fenix 6, which I haven't even opened yet. And maybe this one could be the watch for me. I don't know. But all of them are going to come with all the exact same things. Basically, you're going to get in the box, you get, of course, the watch, and you get the directions and things like that. Which we'll run through some of the features in a separate video. But you get your Garmin, your typical Garmin charging cable, and then the direction. Alright, so now that I've had a chance to hold all three watches in my hands, I do want to go ahead and say that for me, the 6S is probably the watch I would go with personally. The reason I say that is the watch I've been using for the longest time now has been my Forerunner 245 Music, and you can see in comparison the screen size is really identical to my Forerunner 245 Music, so this one would be plenty of watch for me, and I do like the fact that this one is significantly lighter than the other two watches. So despite, yes, it's going to get a little bit less battery life, but still, again, better than my 5 Plus that I got last year. So for me, this would probably be the way to go, but this is also a nice medium size. It's actually 5 grams lighter than my 5 Plus, so still a nice size at 1.3 inch display. And then the watch I've been using over the last few days has been the 6X. So I want to go ahead and show you some of the nice added features you get as a result of this larger watch. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the run option. And you can see that here, right now I have 5 data fields. On the 6, you actually only get a maximum of, so this is the 6 versus the 6X, you only get 6 data fields available here. Now I actually don't know how many data fields you get on the 6S, so I'll have to check that out in future videos. But if we go in here, we'll go into the options, we'll go into run settings, and you can see that with data screens I can actually get up to, by default, obviously if you get the Connect IQ app you can get more data fields on any of these watches, but you can see here we can go 5 data fields, which is what I'm using, but we can go up to 6 and then 7 and then all the way up to 8 data fields. Now the fields get pretty small, you can see, but you do have at least that option, so I'm not going to save that because I like the 5 data fields. I think that's a nice medium here, happy medium, and good size on the watch. But again, like I said, with the 6 you can get up to 6 data fields. in that one. So as far as the actual buttons and everything, pretty much everything is identical to my 5 Plus and my Forerunner 245 Music. So up here we have, let's get out of that, up here we have our lights, so that's just going to turn the light on and off, the backlight on the watch. This is our up button and our menu button, so if I hold that down I can go into my menu. We can change the watch face and clocks, history, and then all the other features that I'm going to do a separate video where I talk about the different software options in the watch. We'll go do a full rundown of the software. And then this is our down button. So this right now it's going to take me into my widgets, and I do like how these widgets are set up. So these are different than the 5 Plus widgets. So you can see that you actually get kind of like a sneak peek to the next one on this one, whereas when I go into my widgets on my 5 Plus and my 245 Music, you'll see that basically it's just going to show you that particular widget. So there you go. So that's the widgets there. Here's my 245 Music. You can see here, same thing. And by the way, the buttons on this one are a lot more mushy. So they're definitely not as nice, and you can actually feel a nice click on these ones when you push them, where here they're definitely a lot more mushy. But yeah, so anyways, each individual widget is its own screen, where here you get a kind of a sneak peek into the next widget, which is really cool. So yeah, that's a little bit different as well, but that's up and down. And then over here, this is our select button, and then also it's going to be our default to jump right into our workouts. And you can see there's just a ton of different workouts available. Obviously, I don't have every single workout that's available on here, but there's a ton. And basically, like I mentioned, this is pretty much a kitchen sink watch, and then over here this is our back button. So overall, I definitely like the feature upgrade you get with the 6. I'm going to do a lot more testing with it. I'm going to be wearing the 6 during all of my testing phase with the watch. So this is the watch I'm going to be using, not the 6S, because, well, this one's a little too girly for me. Even though I like the size of this watch, I like the color of this one. So this is the watch I'm going to be using during the testing phase. Any questions you have about the watches, let me know down in the comment section. I'd love to test out any of the features that you may be interested in the watch. So thanks for watching. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.